One of the most common themes that I see come up in my personal tarot readings is that oftentimes the querent, the person coming to me for the reading, hasn't forgiven themselves for something. And that lack of forgiveness towards themselves is affecting some other area of their life. And usually they don't even realize that they haven't forgiven. They don't even realize that they need to forgive themselves. When it has to do with something we've done to ourselves, that often gets buried very deep. There's a sense of shame around that doesn't allow us to really look it in the eye and address it. And so today you're going to get to uncover a message from yourself to yourself, a request for forgiveness. Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to another weekly tarot reading. I'm happy to see your lovely faces once again. Shout out to my sister. I think I've shouted her out in a while, but she does still have her earring shop open. This is from the ADDISUN collection, named after me, and I always leave her Etsy shop link in the bio, so check her earrings out. Okay, let's get into today's reading topic. We do have 4 piles though, and on each pile there is a quote, okay? So today when you're choosing your pile, I want you to read through the quotes on each of the piles and choose the one that gives you a sense of like peace and freedom when you read it. And of course, you're always welcome to choose more than one pile. Sometimes there's multiple areas of our life that are asking for our forgiveness. So if you're feeling pulled between 1 or 2 or more, I suggest go ahead and listening to your intuition and going to both piles. So let's get into this reading. I'm going to flash an image of the piles for you and I'll see you guys there. Love you. Hey, pile 1, welcome to your reading. You all gravitated towards the quote by Caitlin S. Irons that says, "Shine with all that you have." This is giving you lots of fiery energy vibes, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, just fire energy in general. So you all might be impulsive at times, go-getters, very active sorts of people, or perhaps this area of forgiveness in your life has to do where a mistake was made due to that fiery energy, or where you've blocked off your fiery energy, your call to action. And so we'll see as we get into the rest of the reading, but I do want to roll the die as always first, so let's do that. All right, we have the moon in Taurus in the 11th house. Okay, so the moon is our mind, our emotions, and Taurus is actually a very stubborn energy. Taurus doesn't like to move fast. It's like kind of the antithesis to this fiery energy I was touching on in the quotes. Taurus likes slow, steady, cautious. Taurus can also get quite stuck in its ways. Like once Taurus knows what it wants to do, it really likes to commit to that. It doesn't want to sway from that. And then we had the 11th house as well, which has to do with kind of our highest hopes and wishes in life, our aspirations and things that we kind of dream and fantasize about doing or receiving one day. It also has to do with the larger network circles and friendship groups that we're a part of. So this area of forgiveness may have to do with something that occurred in this house, this 11th house. And we'll see if it had to do with kind of a lack of commitment, that fiery energy, or if it had to do with a stubbornness that held you back, or maybe it's going to be a bit different for each one of you, depending on who you are. I know a lot of people watch these readings. So we'll see as we get further into the card. So let's start with the tarot. Okay, so from my tarot deck, we have level 16. It's the explosion, and it is upright. It says radical change. Life is being shaken up. Shake up your life, divine intervention. A foundation that never served you is being taken away. For your own good, a path not meant for you is being taken away. It may feel bad or scary at the moment, but in the long term, you will be so grateful for this divine intervention. Revolution, expect the unexpected, explosion, change, growth. This card's associated with Mars and or Pluto in the 8th house, which is the house of transformations, of death, of endings and new beginnings. So yeah, there must have been a moment in your life where I feel like it's interesting because I feel like it may have been you. I know this card often talks about divine intervention, an explosion that was kind of God's will, but it almost feels like you were the catalyst for it. Like when you look back on this moment, you feel like you were the cause of this explosion, and maybe this explosion shouldn't have happened. There was something that you had committed to that you maybe gave up on, abandoned, or self-sabotaged. That's often a very common theme with humanity, with humans in general, that the self-sabotage, this kind of lack of belief in your dreams, your aspirations, your highest hopes, a lack of faith that it can actually happen. And so to not have to deal with the pain of that failure, it's like, let me go ahead and sabotage the situation before it gets to that moment of failure. So that way I don't have to look at myself as a failure, but I can, because we didn't ever get there, I can look at it as, oh, well, it just didn't work out. It's like we couldn't even get to that point because of other outside things that were happening. Like a random example, maybe, perhaps you're in a marriage that you're extremely unhappy in. You don't really believe that it's possible to really heal the marriage, to fix it, but you're staying because you don't want to look like the bad guy or the villain by being the one to ask for the divorce, right? So you're kind of avoiding that confrontation. But yeah, there's no faith, there's no hope that that marriage can work out. So maybe what you do to kind of self-sabotage the marriage is you have an affair and you're very, I'll say you're very free and open with kind of what you're doing in that affair, and it results in a pregnancy. And it's not that you intended to get pregnant, you didn't intentionally want a pregnancy out of the situation, but subconsciously, yeah, you did, because that was kind of your ticket out. That was your way out of that unhappy marriage. It was a way for you to kind of feel like, well, I don't have an option now. Like now I have to get out of the marriage, right? Like there's no going back at this point. So it's not really my fault, I guess, if the marriage failed. I didn't really have a choice. Like now it's like, obviously this pregnancy has kind of just shut this whole thing down. So it's almost kind of like relinquishing your power and your control in a situation, allowing something to implode, maybe being a bit careless or reckless, self-sabotaging something, not consciously on purpose, but maybe subconsciously, yeah, because of a fear of committing to something or addressing something head on, not wanting to have to deal with which option should I take, wanting to relinquish your power and just have God come in and say, well, we're swiping this option off the table, so now this is the only one that you have. So there was some sort of moment like that in your life where you haven't fully forgiven yourself for this. And I feel like a lot of you were thinking, well, I don't need to forgive myself for that because that was kind of out of my control. Like for example, if it was an accidental pregnancy, why would I be mad at myself for that? That was unexpected and out of my control. Well, what your higher self is coming through to say to you is subconsciously, you did know what you were doing, or you did know where it was going to lead inevitably. Okay. And so subconsciously, you do have anger and resentment for kind of relinquishing your power in regards to that situation, not grasping on to your full power, letting that go, giving it to someone else, allowing yourself or maybe others to be victimized by a situation that you could have handled differently and changed. Okay. So there is, yourself is wanting to ask you for forgiveness for this time period in your life, whatever it was that occurred. I do see in the card that in some ways, this really was divine intervention. Okay. Although changes could have been made to the way it was done, yeah, sure. But really where you ended up, it's not like you've gotten off track, okay? Where you are today is really exactly where you would have ended up anyways, even if things were handled differently. Even if you look back and say, ideally, I wish I would have done X, Y, or Z instead. okay, maybe that's a nice thought to have. And maybe, yes, ideally it would have been better to handle it this other way. But in the grand scheme and the zoom out of things, you actually would have ended up still right exactly where you are today. Okay. So this situation hasn't caused you to go off course. You're still right on course with your path, with your ultimate plan, with your purpose. Like God's got things handled. But yeah, it is time to forgive yourself for that period in your life, to understand that we always have an ideal way to handle something that's so much easier to do when you're looking back on something that's already happened. It's so much easier to see things clearly and to be able to look at it from a logical, emotionally detached point of view when you're no longer in the situation and you're just kind of looking back and reflecting. But the reality is, in the moments, in the heated, passionate moments in life, like when we're in the middle of those, it's really tough to hold ourselves to a standard of the ideal. It's really, really hard because we are just human. And the other thing too, is that this theme of kind of like self-sabotage, or I just want to relinquish my power, just want something else to come in and take something away or shift me in a new direction, because I don't want to be the one responsible for that shift. I don't want to be the one that has to make the decision. Just want someone or something else above to do it for me. It's not surprising that you took that route, okay? Because I also see that in your life up to that point, you were kind of taught to take that sort of approach. You weren't really taught from a young age how to grasp onto your power, how to take control, how to kind of open up, be vocal, make difficult choices and decisions, stand up for yourself. Like you have a whole entire life up to this tower moment, this explosion, where you weren't trained or prepared for that. So I'm not surprised at all to see kind of what choices were made and how it was handled. I don't think there's another way that you could have done it better given your life up to that point, the training, the experience, the wisdom that you had up to that point. Now, I know that you're in a different place. You've gathered new wisdom, new life experiences. Now, if you were to end up in the same sort of situation in some way, you would be able to confidently handle it differently, to do more of kind of the ideal, to be able to walk out of that situation not needing to forgive yourself for something. But this was a younger time. This was an earlier time. And you truly just didn't. I see that you were in a painful situation. Okay. It was already painful, anyways. And you just didn't see a way out. So you were truly, even though I feel like at this moment in your life, you didn't consider yourself a spiritual person. Some of you may have been atheist, for example, at this point in your life. What you were actually doing in that moment, that relinquishing of control, there was part of you trying to connect with God because you didn't see a way out. You didn't have faith in yourself. And it was like, I'm just going to pull my hands off of this, let it all go, and see where the universe wants to take it. Let's let God intervene and let's see what he wants to do, because I'm not messing with it. So the important part of this moment was that it did tap you back into your connection with spirit in a sense that I don't feel like you had for maybe years before that. And sometimes it does take a tower moment to get us connected to spirit. I remember hearing a quote or an interview or something with someone that said that, when an airplane is experiencing a lot of turbulence, that's the only moment that you'll literally see everyone in the airplane, whether they're an atheist or religious or not. You're going to see them saying a little silent prayer to someone, the universe, God, whatever. So sometimes it does take those tower explosion moments to kind of tap us and plug us back into spirit. So I feel like it was good for you in that sense. And if there's any, again, resentment, anger, frustration, regret that you have towards yourself because you wonder where you would have ended up in life had you not made that particular choice, Spirit wants you to know that, guess what? You would have ended up right where you are right now. Okay. So there's no sense in going back over it again and again and again. You can truly forgive and let go. God stepped in. He's taking care of everything. He's made sure that you are still on the path you need to be on. Okay. Nothing has changed. It's kind of like the path was going like this, and then maybe it split, right? Maybe you went that way, but there was this other option. But if you were to zoom out on the map, you would see that what happens is they come back around and then they turn back into one. And so you're back here. So you would have ended up there no matter which way you took, okay? All right, let's look at the tarot. Oh, wow. We have the World, the Chariot. So this is Cancer energy. The World is Saturn energy. So Capricorn, Aquarius. Wow. And the Death card. 3 major arcana. The Death card is Scorpio energy, which rules the 8th house, which is on this Tower card. Okay, lots of movement here on these 3 cards. So yeah, this was a big transformative moment in your life. I do think for a lot of you, it was like the moment you became a parent, or maybe had an abortion, or left home for the first time. Maybe you moved somewhere. Maybe you were traveling somewhere. Maybe there was a divorce. Like there's a lot of movement in these 3 cards. I just see them swirling around, and it feels like there was something where you felt like you could have accomplished more, done more. You wanted to look back and feel a sense of achievement during your life at that time that you feel like was pulled from you, ripped away. Maybe it was even like withdrawing from college or failing college. You know, it's something where you left with a sense of shame, like I didn't accomplish what I was supposed to. You know, what happened? What did I do? Why did I do this? But this was a really transformative moment in your life. And what I'm also hearing from Spirit is that there are a lot of things that not everything is meant to be, okay? I'm not a believer that everything happens for a reason and everything's meant to be. I do believe that you can pull purpose out of anything, but that doesn't mean that like it was set in stone, that's how it had to be no matter what, you know. No, I think God gave us all free will. But we can always pull purpose and meaning and learning and wisdom from anything. But it's not all meant to be, okay? Certain things especially not. But in this case, I am actually seeing in the cards that this situation and the way it turned out was kind of meant to be, okay? There was some sort of spiritual purpose going on behind it, and it definitely transformed you. You passing through this experience really anchored you into the person you are today. It transformed you in a big way, and it helped set you up for your future success. So while it was a moment in your life where you felt a lack of success, a lack of triumph, it was really a moment of preparation for the future success and future triumph. It was almost like a jumping board, a springboard into where you were supposed to head in your future. So yeah, everything worked out exactly as it should, all right? That's really what your higher self at least wants you to know. Don't look at this as a failure, something to be ashamed of. Like, it all worked out like it was supposed to. Okay, let's look at some of the other cards. Okay, from the chakra deck, we have the recovery card, and this is the purple chakra. That's our 3rd eye. Then we have Sun in Aries. It says assertion. And Jupiter in Aries, enterprise. So 2 Aries cards. From the Miracles Now deck, it says stillness is the key to success. So that goes really well with the Taurus on the die. So it's interesting. There's almost like there's this conflict of energies, I think, that lives inside of you, to be honest. This earthy energy and this fiery energy. The fiery energy wants to move, go, explode things, run, you know, it just wants to take action. And this earthy side wants to like just be committed, cautious, not move, you know, stay put, stay where it is. So it feels like this was a situation where it's like you committed to something for a long time that maybe, or that you shouldn't have committed to, you know, or at least there was a point in time where it was no longer working, but there was this stubbornness to stay committed to it, or this sort of maybe weakness that you felt. And can I really leave this person, this thing, this job? No, I'll just stay, that very Taurus earthy energy. But then this fiery energy is in you, and it's like you ignored it for such a long time that it eventually kind of pent up inside of you and then just exploded all over the place, where you basically just like bombed the whole thing. So it's like you vacillate between these 2 extremes of like maybe committing to people, places, and things like way past their expiration date, being way too committed. But then at the same time, like instead of leaving in a, you know, instead of maybe saying like, this is no longer working for me, I need to pull back a little bit, I'm going to set a few boundaries, instead of slowly and steadily kind of pulling back and setting boundaries, it's like, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm just going to set the place on fire and run off kind of thing, which is cracking me up because I totally relate to it. But so yeah, that's kind of the 2 things. That's where you kind of feel this sense of regret. And it's interesting because it's like, do I forgive myself? It almost feels like you have two different things that you need to forgive yourself first. One, for staying in a place of stagnation or toxicity way too long, not setting those boundaries when you needed to, not protecting yourself, not being truly responsible for yourself, loving yourself. So like being stagnated, that's the first thing, for too long, not leaving. But then it's like you almost also need to forgive yourself for leaving in the way that you did, self-sabotaging the situation, exploding something, right? So that must be such a weird thing for you to deal with. It's like, what do I really forgive myself for? Because I know that I wasn't supposed to stay. I know that, and I wish I would have left sooner. But at the same time, when I did leave, I hurt myself, or I hurt a lot of people, or I don't like the way that I did it. So, but it's time to just let that all wash away. Okay, it's all gone. You're good. You're right where you need to be. Everything's fine. You can learn to trust yourself again. You can let go of this. It's just a part of life. We've all got mistakes. We all look back and wish there were things that we handled differently. You're good, okay? All right, so the sun in Aries and Jupiter in Aries. Yeah, this is that assertion, see? Where it's like, I'm fed up and I'm finally going to assert myself. I'm going to expand. The sun and Jupiter, those are both, the sun is where we're supposed to shine. It's where we feel good. It's our sense of pride, our ego, our confidence. And Jupiter is like when we're ready to expand, to grow, to get out. Like Jupiter is not stagnated at all. And with both of these planets in Aries, Aries wants to move fast. Aries can also be a little bit selfish in the way that it does things. Aries can get to a point where it only sees something from its own point of view and takes action based on that, without first kind of looking around and being like, oh, okay, but how will this affect other people? Maybe I should take that into account, because it acts so quickly. So I feel like that's kind of what your higher self wants to apologize to you for. Say sorry, it is sorry that it acted so rashly in a sense. So Aries-like, but also at the same time, it's glad that it did what it needed to do to save you from the situation that you were in. Some situations in life, there's no way to get in or out of it without making a bit of a mess. It's kind of like that saying, you've got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. There's no way around it. You're going to have to crack the egg if you want to make the omelet. That was kind of the situation that you were in. So don't hold yourself to such a standard of perfection when you look back on this moment. You can release it. You can let go. Because I honestly feel like everyone, if there was anyone else involved in this situation, this sort of mess, it feels like they've all moved on. Truly, honestly, everyone else's energy feels good. I feel like if anyone needed to forgive you, they've already done it. It's all released. But for some reason, you are still holding on to anger and resentment towards yourself. Isn't that funny? Because you're angry at yourself because of the way that maybe what you did affected or hurt other people. But those people have already moved on. They're over it. They're good. So why are you going to be angry at yourself for that? Like, let it go. Let it go. Stillness is the key to success. It's funny that this word has a key in it, because the recovery card also has a key in it. So this lack of forgiveness is holding you back from your success. And here's the other thing that I see. This need to forgive yourself, it is making it very difficult for you to be alone. Even if you're one of those people that's like, what are you saying, Addison? I am so desperate to be alone. Nothing sounds better than some time alone and away from everyone and everything. I get the feeling that that hasn't worked out for you lately, has it? I get the feeling that the life that you have around you keeps you quite busy. And something else I'm hearing from Spirit is a lot of this busyness in your life it's not necessary. Okay, there are moments in your day-to-day where you actually do have a chance to be alone, be with yourself, but you don't allow yourself to do it. You guilt yourself into getting up and doing something else, even if it doesn't even really have a purpose. It's like, oh, I think I'm just going to go like wipe this thing down that you maybe already wiped that isn't even dirty. It's like you're almost doing that. I see you just kind of constantly keeping yourself busy, moving. When people ask you to do favors for them, I see you going ahead and saying yes, even if you don't really want to do it. And you know why? It's because the subconscious part of you still feels that you're a bad person, feels that you are a guilty person, feels that you owe everyone everything, and also is terrified to be alone with you. Your own self is scared to be alone with you. So it goes ahead and says yes to this, that, or the other. And I just see you kind of constantly kind of scattering about everywhere, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it's keeping you from your success, because this constant busy work, it's not busy work with a purpose. If it was with a purpose, that would be different because we do get busy as we're working towards success, whether it's studying in college or working on a new project at work or, creating something. This is different. It's a busyness that's not very purposeful. But your subconscious is doing this to you on purpose because it doesn't think you deserve to succeed. It doesn't think you deserve that. So it's time to let that go, to realize that like you're a great person. You're a good person. People love you. No one's still angry at you for this. Everything's worked out fine. You're right now where you need to be. Okay? So let go of that anger, that critical voice within you, and tap into your stillness. Start prioritizing that. Be still with yourself. And not only that, don't go off into a guided meditation, okay? Don't go off into even a prayer. What I want you to do is I want you to sit in stillness and talk to yourself. Talk to the same part of yourself that's here for this reading today. Talk to yourself about what is it that I truly feel about myself? What do I really think of myself as a person? What's my opinion of myself? And if some of those opinions are hateful, are mean, are cruel, are angry, let it come out. Listen to that. Let yourself kind of vent to yourself, okay? Just as you would if it was, your kid coming to you saying, I'm angry at you for doing this, that, or the other. You would be like, okay, let me hear it. Let me listen. I want to know how you're feeling and I want to address it. Do that with yourself because I get this feeling that there's a need for you kind of, I don't know, it kind of explode onto yourself a bit. Part of you is still really, really angry at yourself and doesn't think very highly of your own self, and you need to let that be released. So don't drown out that inner voice with a guided meditation or with some sort of spiritual video, for example. No, this is a time for you to like sit with yourself and be like, okay, let's have it. Tell me what you really think of me. Let me hear it. And some of the stuff you're going to hear isn't going to be very nice. I'll promise you that. But once you allow yourself to really hear it or maybe even say it out loud, it's going to help you process it. It's going to help you realize how silly it is that you think that, how that's not true. So try and make time to do that this week. That would be really, really good for you guys. Okay, let's read the recovery card. And I want to read this from the book because they all have like little stories that go with them that are really good. Let's see. All right, so this card is called the Lilac Key because you'll see it's a lilac color. The message on the card says, pain from our past unlocks the door of understanding. Okay, here's the legend. Greta, and let's see, I think, yeah, this is Greta here, okay? This is Mother Earth, and then I think this is God, we'll see. But this is Greta here at the bottom. Greta wakes to find painful childhood memories all around her room. In the distance appears a huge wooden door with white light streaming through the keyhole. As Greta tries to gather up her painful memories, they melt and form the great lilac key. She places the key in the lock, and a wave of fear engulfs her. The door opens, and the pain and fear recede. Clarity comes. Survival is no longer enough. The inspiration of the card says, once the key has been used to open the door, you will have a new way of living, one without keys. Where you are heading, there are no locks. And this is what the card wants you to ask yourself. It is time to recover a part of me that has been dormant. Am I ready to live an inspired future? I love that. So the message on the card talks about how these painful memories that she was afraid to address, to deal with, were actually preventing her from her success, because once she decided to start gathering up these painful memories, looking at them, dealing with them, taking ownership of them, that's when they formed into a key. That's when they turned into wisdom to unlock doors and opportunities for her future. And she was able to finally make a purpose out of those memories. Just like what I was saying earlier, I don't think that everything happens for a reason, but I think you can find reason and purpose and wisdom in everything that happens in life. Doesn't mean it was meant to happen, but you can turn it into something useful for you. So once she decided to take those painful memories, gather them up, deal with them, she turned them into wisdom. She took away learning experiences from each of those, from healing, and was able to step into the doorway of her future. That is that's what you are calling yourself to do at this time. Look back on those things, address them, let yourself have it. Like, part of me feels like you do need to be there's a lot of anger beneath the surface that you have towards yourself that I don't feel like you've addressed. And it's almost like you need to get it out. Kind of like how, you know how maybe brothers sometimes. Maybe one brother really hurts the other, does something really crappy, and then all of a sudden they'll just start like, I don't know, I see it in movies all the time. Who knows if it happens in real life? They'll just start punching the crap out of each other, like they get in a big fist fight, but then like 10 seconds into the fist fight, then they're like hugging each other and crying and kissing each other, and then it's all good, and then they've moved on. You know, it's like they let the anger explode out of them, then they were able to hug it out and deal with it. It kind of feels like that's what you need to do with yourself. There's a part of you that just wanting to just sock you in the face, in a sense, just wants to tell you what it really thinks of you. And you haven't been willing to listen to it. You've been keeping yourself like busy, busy, busy. Nope, don't want to look at that. Don't want to listen to that. And you've been more fearful of it than you need to be. Okay, because deep down you really do love yourself. You really do. So what's there to fear? It's okay if you're a little bit angry. It's okay to go ahead and address that. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's just yourself, and you love yourself. Of course you do. You've got amazing qualities and amazing spirits. You know, you've got people around you who love you, who easily have forgiven you for anything you've done. That's pretty special, okay? So it's time to create that key to get through those future doorways and to create a space of stillness for yourself. And don't use anyone or anything as an excuse, okay? Don't use anyone or anything as an excuse. You absolutely can create a space of stillness in your life and to sit in silence for a bit. You can do it. Stand up for yourself, set boundaries. Don't go the route that, you know, you did back in this past situation where it's like, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to keep dealing with it and taking it and being quiet and sweet. And then all of a sudden you explode and, you know, run away or do something drastic or self-sabotage. Don't handle it that way again. You can do it differently this time, because I do feel that you're getting a bit overwhelmed. You're keeping yourself way too busy. So let's take wisdom from that past situation and use it in the situation you're in right now, okay? All right, I'm going to leave you all here, but I want to thank you so much for coming. Thank you for allowing me to connect with you, provide you a portal, a space for self-forgiveness, which is so, so important. And I love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you for next week's reading. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. Let's take a look at the pile topper you all chose. A lovely quote by John Muir, and I looked him up, and he is actually one of the, he was a Scottish American from like a long time ago, early stages of the United States, who helped to, he was a champion for national parks in the United States. So safe spaces that couldn't be, you know, where buildings couldn't be created, where the animals couldn't be destroyed. So he was a nature lover at heart. And his quote says, "The sun shines not on us, but in us." So beautiful, beautiful quote. Let's start with rolling the die, and then we'll get into the tarot and oracles and see what it is you need to forgive yourself for and let go of. All right, we have a Mars in Capricorn in the 10th house. I just laugh when I see Mars together with Capricorn, because it just makes me think of this, like, I don't know, almost like a father-child sort of dynamic, or like a young person, old person sort of dynamic. The old person wants to go slow and steady, and the young person is just wanting to like take action, go fast, you know, so it's like this dynamic sort of energy with this partner of kind of slowness and stillness. That creates kind of, I don't know, a funny dynamic between the two. But the 10th house is about our career and our legacy and our work and our goals, our you know, aspirations in terms of what we do for a living. And Capricorn actually rules the 10th house. It goes really, really well there. But Capricorn, like I was saying, it wants determined progress. Capricorn is a very patient energy. It will push through tough times with the diligence, with a sense of duty. It's not real emotional. It's not like a passionate sort of energy. No, it's very practical. It really wants to build something that's going to last a long time and stand the test of time. Whereas Mars energy may prefer to just build something quickly, may not be patient enough to put all the time and energy and effort needed in order to build something that's going to last for 100 years. It's like, no, I want to see progress right now. Let's just build this. Oh, I know we don't have the best wood right now, but it's going to take forever to get that good wood to build this house. So let's just do it with this. That's kind of Mars, okay? So it seems like this area of life you need to forgive yourself for has something to do with career. Maybe it's something that cost you your job, something you did, something you said. Maybe it has to do with college, maybe a sense of impatience with it. I almost feel like it has to do with, for some of you, I think there was an argument or some sort of disruption with an authority figure in your life, perhaps even your own father, okay? Someone above you that you were just like, you just don't get it. We've got to go. We need to do something. This other stuff doesn't matter. You're in an old-fashioned mindset. And for some reason, there's some forgiveness that needs to be done here toward yourself. It doesn't feel like you're very happy with maybe some of the bridges that were burnt in the process, or maybe now that you're more mature and kind of looking back, you're like, oh, dang, why did I act so quickly? Who knows? We'll see as we get into the tarot. So let's go ahead and start with our first tarot card. All right, we have level 3, the Misses, and it's in reverse. It says, no longer wanting to be a wife or a mother, not emotionally ready to be a wife or a mother, divorced or single, not a good wife or mother, having a lack mindset or stifled creativity, suppressing the divine feminine, not wanting to be a creator or a nurturer, rushing or trying to force something in an unnatural way. This card's associated with Venus energy, so Taurus and Libra energy. Interesting. So that's like a relationship card. None of the die has anything to do with that. The die has to do with career. So perhaps for some of you, you lost a relationship over this. Maybe a romantic relationship. Maybe you were prioritizing career, making quick, fast progress in career. Yeah, I could see that for a lot of you where it's like, look, you don't, maybe you were with someone and you kind of just thought they were always going to be there. Maybe you weren't ready to really commit, who knows? And you wanted to really pour all of your energy and time into career because you wanted quick, fast progress, no time to waste. I don't want to do things the slow, long, and steady way. No, I want to like shoot up like a rocket in terms of career. So I've got to put my all into it and really just only having that as a priority. And then maybe the relationships that were lost in the process due to that it feels like a very young, fiery, maybe a little bit naive sort of energy. And now there's a lot of regret. So yeah, there could have been for some of you a romantic relationship involved that maybe feels like the one that got away kind of thing. But for others of you, it just has to do with, career and work, maybe giving up on college or something like that. Okay, let's look at the rest of the tarot. We have a Knight of Wands. It's in reverse. That's fire energy. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Oh yeah, Nine of Swords. We have the Justice card in reversed. This is Libra energy. And then we have the Two of Swords in reversed. Yeah, for some of you, this resulted in a divorce. It looks like someone actually divorced you over it. Not for all of you, but for some of you. For all of you, it was a situation where eventually your actions caused the people around you to do something that you never thought they would do. Like you almost didn't think they would have the balls to do it. You thought whatever you were doing is totally forgivable. Everyone will just move past it. No, everything will be fine. And then it's like one day, someone drew a line in the sand and left. And then you were like, oh shit, I didn't think it was going to actually result in that. It's like it wasn't your intention. It just there was something in your life that you weren't prioritizing that you probably should have a little bit more, okay? So now you look back on the situation with a huge sense of regret, and you blame yourself for the way things turned out. In your mind, it's like if I could turn back time and if I could have acted differently, done things differently, maybe been more dual-minded, prioritized other things, didn't put all of my eggs into one basket, prioritized career and relationships, personal life and public life, then this wouldn't have happened. People wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have lost these opportunities. So yeah, there's a lot of anger that you hold towards yourself for this decision. But I do also see in the cards that this was I do feel like someone from your early life, maybe like a parent, something was going on in your early life that really put this impression on you that like, I have to go full force in terms of, let's say maybe it was like career. Okay, so you had this sense of anxiety and pressure when it came to, no, I've got to build a career. I've got to, create money and wealth for myself. It was almost like this sense of urgency around it. So maybe you had a parent or two parents that maybe didn't do great career wise and were always kind of putting that pressure on you. Like, you've got to do things the right way. We didn't do it the right way. Maybe they always had money issues and you saw a lot of fights about money. So you're like, well, if I want a good relationship when I grow up, I've got to build a lot of wealth. I've got to build it fast. Something like that. So you do need to, it is time to forgive yourself and also understand that maybe from the outside looking in, people would say, or maybe these people that left you, friends, family, loved ones, would say that you were acting just very selfishly. On some level, yes, that's true, but that's a really superficial way to look at it, because beneath the surface, what was going on is this inner child within you, circumstances you were raised in, really created a sense of urgency. You really thought that you were doing the right thing by prioritizing it. You really thought that, yeah, they think it sucks now. Everyone thinks it sucks now. I get it. It sucks. But look, guys, 10 years from now, when I get to where I'm supposed to get, you guys are all going to get the benefits of that. Then you guys will look back and say, yes, you did things the right way. It was good that you over prioritized this. Thank you. That's what you really thought was going to happen. It's like you knew it kind of sucked, but you really thought that, like, no, I'm making the right decision. They will thank me later. But then what happened is someone left or an opportunity was lost and it didn't work out. And now you have this anger towards yourself for it that needs to be released. It's time to forgive yourself. Maybe let's look into more of the cards. Let's look at our chakra cards. Okay, so the orange chakra came out and it says passion. And I'm going to read you the story from the book because each card has an interesting little story that really helps you understand the message of the card. All right, so the general message of the card is, I quietly sizzle and shine. That goes really, really well with your quote that the sun shines not on us, but in us from within. You don't have to chase that shine from outside. You can receive it from within. So I quietly sizzle and shine. Okay, here's the story on the card. The Princess of Amber, which is this girl here, spends her time volunteering. No person or task is beneath her. She loves her subjects and looks after them like a loyal servant. When the newspapers criticize her, her family begs her to behave more like royalty. She refuses. The people hold a free election and, to the surprise of the aristocracy, vote for the princess as their new leader. It's kind of a story about being humble, not having a focus on keeping up with images, with pleasing maybe the expectations of your parents or your family, but focusing on what you know is the right thing to do. It's kind of the message. So it says for the card's inspiration, it says, you are correct to feel passionate about your position. Follow your instincts, for you know intuitively what is right for you. And here's the personal inquiry. Are my daily actions supporting my real passion? What am I willing to stand for? Yeah, it's time to, what I'm seeing with these cards and that one here is, for a lot of you, this sense of regret that you have, this situation, whatever it is, whether it was like a lost job or relationship, it's actually not too late to go back and fix things. So don't let your pride get in the way. It is not too late to change, to reprioritize things, to maybe own up, apologize, write a letter, reach out, and actually fix this situation. And that's really great. So there's a lot of hope here in you guys' pile. If you can forgive yourself fully, that's what you have to do. Because once you forgive yourself, you're not walking around with this sense of shame that prevents you from taking action on what you need to do. So if you can walk through forgiveness for yourself, it's not too late to turn this situation around, okay? For a lot of you, things are turning up. And if anything, this experience that you went through was a wake-up call to your priorities. Just like Princess Amber, whose parents prioritize appearing royal. She obviously reached a point in her life where she doesn't care about that. I don't care what you have to say about me being royal. I don't care about appearances. I'm going to do what I know is the right thing to do. I want to go volunteer at this place. I want to connect with people who need help. So this situation for you was that same kind of wake-up call. Nothing else would have done it. It's unfortunate. Of course, we all wish we were born perfect and didn't have any issues to work through, right? But life doesn't work that way. And so we can take our mistakes as an opportunity to better ourselves, to realize things, to change the course of our life, of our relationships. And that's what's being offered to you here. Okay, so this was a good thing that happened. It's good that someone stood up and said something, that something was taken away or pulled from you. That's a good thing. If things would have stayed the way they were, you wouldn't have had an opportunity to mature or to progress. Okay, so yes, I see that you look back and you wish you handled things differently. You wish that you realized things before it was too late. We all go through that, right? You can realize it now though and go ahead and make changes. And like I said, for a lot of you, I see that it's actually not too late to bring something back together and to work something out. Okay, let's look at the other cards. It says, when in doubt, I play it out. Then we have the sun in Cancer. It says resourcefulness. And Jupiter in Sagittarius, and it says principle. Yeah, so sun in Cancer makes me think that for some of you, this sort of divorce situation actually involves kids. So for some of you, it's like, look, even if it's too late to get back with your partner, you still have kids from this situation that need you. Allow what you learned from this experience to affect your relationship with them in a positive way. So don't get caught up in a all is lost sort of mentality. I'm such a screw up. Why did I do this? That's just a waste of time for you. There's so much progress to be made. There's actually so much, even though it feels so embarrassing and so shameful to realize that maybe you did something that you shouldn't have done, even though that sucks, it's what allows us to grow and to change and to become better people. Okay, so there's no reason to be shrouded in a sense of shame that's going to keep you immobile. Take from it, learn from it. Yeah, guess what? You're not a superhero. You're not perfect. You're just like everyone else. And we all have had these moments in our lives. Every single one of us. Okay, so don't hold yourself up to such a high standard that one mistake makes you question everything about yourself, who you are in your reality. No, guess what? You're just a regular person like all of us, and we all make mistakes, and we all have regrets, and that's just a normal part of life. And sometimes we have to deal with the consequences of that. Yeah, but I'm seeing a lot of opportunity for blessing in your life. If you can just, get yourself up out of this bed here that you're in. If you can pull yourself out of this energy, pull your mind out of this energy, then I see a lot of opportunity for you. You can be resourceful, just like this card says, with this learning experience. Squeeze the most out of it. Take those lemons and turn them into lemonade. And you'll be surprised how many people want to come up and have a glass of lemonade with you. Okay, I see people being able to come in. So yeah, shift your priorities, absolutely. Write them out, take a good hard look at them, get a deep understanding of what do I want my priorities to be and how am I going to work this out in my day-to-day life? How is it going to work? What does it mean? But this is great. You're in a pivotal moment in your life for growth, for change, and positive things are going to be coming in for you, okay? So it's time to forgive yourself, to let this moment go. Focus on the purpose and the meaning in this moment, the value and what you're learning through this experience. There's no sense in being like, if I could just go back and not have made that mistake, not have done things that way. No, your whole life's going to be filled with mistakes. Did you know that? Your whole life's going to be filled with them. You're going to be screwing up all the time. Are you kidding me? That's just part of it. You didn't realize that when we sign up for this life? That's just kind of part of the deal. We just kind of screw up sometimes. That's just part of it. Just let that go. It's fine. You're good, okay? Forgive yourself. You're good. You're a regular human, just like the rest of us, and you're learning a lot through all of this. So this was a good thing that happened to you, all right? It was a good thing that happened to you, and I see a lot of blessings coming in, okay? A lot. All right, I love you guys. I want to thank you so much for coming to this reading. I enjoyed chit-chatting with you, connecting with you, and I look forward to seeing you for next week's pick card reading. Bye, guys. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. Can't wait to get into this with you. Let's start by taking a look at the quote you all gravitated towards. It's by D.M. Dellinger, which I looked him up, and he was actually a human rights activist, but he was a pacifist. He wanted to create social change in nonviolent ways. And I think he was actually imprisoned for like some of the peaceful protests and things that he participated in. Okay, this quote by him says, "There is a magic about you that is all your own." Beautiful. So maybe it's time to maybe this reading is going to be about tapping you into your own uniqueness, something you haven't realized about yourself. Let's start with the die and then we'll get into the tarot cards. Okay, we have a Neptune in the 5th house in Capricorn. Okay, beautiful. Geez, you guys, if you don't know that you're unique already, I'm going to make sure you leave this reading knowing that, because this is a unique set of die in and of itself. So the 5th house is the house of our creations, our creative inspiration, our creativity in general. You know, that's the house of like music and dance and art and poetry. It's a very joyful house. It's the house of our inner child that wants to play and create and have fun. And Neptune, that's a planet of fantasy, of illusion. You know, a lot of actors and actresses have Neptune in like prominent houses, their 1st house or their 10th house, because, you know, actors and actresses, famous people, pop stars, they often become this sort of fantasy and illusion for us regular folk. So to have this in your 5th house is very powerful creatively. And then in the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn is the sign that helps us build a legacy. It's like, this is where Capricorn is in your chart. That's kind of where the universe is like, this is the area of life you're supposed to focus on, be remembered for, build a legacy in, you know, be very practical and grounded about it, pursue something for the long term. So you have this in your 5th house with Neptune. So yeah, you guys are deeply spiritual, creative, very, very unique. And we'll see how this plays into kind of what you're supposed to be forgiving yourself for, what you're asking for forgiveness of yourself for. Let's look at the tarot cards. All right, we have a spiritual growth card of values. It says, the ability to make slow and steady progress in a way that will benefit humanity. Analytical and forward-thinking mind. An unpaid volunteer that's passionate about serving others. Making a difference in the world one meal at a time. Making a difference in the world one donation at a time. A healer, a helper of those less fortunate. This card's associated with Uranus and Virgo in the 11th house, as well as the number 12, 12th house. Okay, yeah, you guys are, okay. So you guys are supposed to be in some sort of line of spiritual work. A line of work which you are of spiritual service to others. It could be doing something like what I do, maybe an astrology reader, a tarot reader, a Reiki healer, but it could also be for a nonprofit organization, some sort of religious organization. A psychologist is a great healer, even a doctor, a nurse, any sort of healing industry where the purpose is for people to come to you and leave feeling more connected to themselves, more confident in themselves, and better overall, okay? That's the line of work that you're supposed to be in. Even if, let's say you're an artist, let's go in the line of an artist like we were touching on in the beginning. Maybe you write poetry that speaks to people, that heals people. Maybe you create beautiful music that connects people to the deepest parts of their souls and provides this therapeutic experience. Maybe the artwork that you create, that you paint, is an inspiration to others. That's also a healing industry in a way. So something like that, something that's very uniquely you, okay? Because that's what makes people stand out in those sorts of industries. You have to stand out, right? I mean, if you're creating something that's truly from you, authentically you, it's going to be unique because all of us are in our own way. It's when we try to model ourselves after other people that it doesn't work out. So I do feel like you have done that in a sense, trying to model yourself, your actions after kind of what you see other people doing, and that you haven't quite tapped into your own uniqueness. Okay, so I feel like, honestly, I feel like there's a forgiveness for yourself in regards to not taking action. It's almost like you're angry at yourself for not being as confident as you want yourself to be, not pursuing your passions, not knowing what your passions are maybe, getting lost. It's like you're almost angry at yourself for getting lost, for falling for fantasies and illusions, maybe for prioritizing romantic life and relationships above your creations, what you're supposed to create, above your joy. And I do definitely get a sense that some of you may have even fallen into addictions, for example, or I don't know, fallen in towards some sort of weakness. And it's due to this whole thing. So maybe it's that weakness, maybe it's that addiction, that shopping addiction, that gambling addiction, that drug addiction, or alcohol addiction, or sex addiction, or online addiction. Maybe that's what you came here kind of expecting to hear. It's that, oh, I need to forgive myself for that. There's a bigger message underneath all of this, okay? And that is that it's time for you to allow yourself to take shape and form into whatever that looks like. Because it's almost like you're a big, let's say like a ball, right? And you're trying to fit yourself into this box because everyone else is a box. And as you try and shove yourself into this box, you're uncomfortable and you're in a lot of pain because your body, if you're a ball, like a sphere, it's not made for that box. So yeah, you're in pain. And so inevitably, the fact that you're in pain, you're going to want to take something in order to cure that pain. Just like when I have a headache, I go and get a Tylenol for it because I'm in pain, right? So I see that a lot of you kind of went down that route of like, I'm trying to fit into this box. This is so painful. This is hurting. Maybe if I take this, that, or the other, it will help me withstand the pain of this box. And maybe you think that everyone goes through that pain trying to fit into that box. So why is it just you that reached for the medicine to take away the pain? When the reality is, no, everyone else that's fitting into the box is square shaped. So they're not in pain fitting into the box like you are. So you hold a lot of, it's like, I don't know, it feels like it's this Neptune thing, it creates this illusion. It doesn't allow you to see things clearly. Once you allow yourself to get out of the box, okay, to get out of the box, the pain on your body, I'm using metaphors, of course, is going to go away. And then you're not going to have an urge to reach for something to help with the pain, all right? So the solution is not, feel like the solution you've been trying to give yourself is, I just need to learn how to fit in this box and deal with the pain and not need to reach for anything to help, not need to find anything to numb it. Just got to keep fitting into this box. No, actually the solution is to get out of the box. You don't need to be in it. And then guess what? You're not going to be in pain and you're not going to be trying to search for anything to numb the pain. Go find the place where you belong. Go find your spot. Take notice of your own shape, your own uniqueness, what you are, and then figure out where it fits, okay? So you're kind of looking at the result of the problem and not the problem itself, and then holding a lot of anger and resentment toward yourself. For those of you with the addiction issues, that's really what it is. Stop focusing so much on the addiction, okay? Obviously, I'm not saying to not go get help. Absolutely, absolutely. If you're in a situation, I'm not a doctor, all right? I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm speaking to a general group of people who are all here for this reading. But what I can say is that is the byproduct of the actual issue. Okay, so yes, it does need to be resolved, but you're not going to resolve anything just by looking at that. It's time to look at the actual problem, which is you're trying to mold yourself into something that you're not. You are not in the right environment conducive for your growth. Just like if I was to get a cactus plant that needs to be out in the desert and try and grow it in, Antarctica, it's not going to grow. It's a cactus. It can't grow in Antarctica. Like it would be silly for me to even think that would be possible. And to sit there and try and fight against the terrain of Antarctica and, do whatever I can to try and get this cactus to grow, but it's so exhausting and so silly. Like, why not just take this cactus out to a desert? Why not just take it to Arizona? Wouldn't that be a lot better? And then it's going to grow and bloom, and the issues that it was having in Antarctica, it's not going to have in Arizona because it's in the proper environment for its growth. So where is the proper environment for your growth? Who are you? It's time to start thinking about that. Because I can see in the cards that you are meant to be of spiritual service to others. You are meant to tap into your creativity, to own your creativity, and to really, serve others, connect with others in a special and unique way. So I see that you're angry at yourself for all the wrong reasons, basically, for all the wrong reasons. Don't hate yourself for your uniqueness, the parts of you that truly are unique and authentic to you, okay? It's time to start embracing those things, owning those things, and finding the right environment for those things to flourish. You know, where are you going to progress? Let's go there. Let's do that. Focus on your progress and your growth, and you're going to see the pains in your life, the traumas in your life, the emotional hurt in your life. It's going to go away. It's going to fall away. It's going to heal. Okay, let's look at the other tarot cards. All right, we have the Page of Cups, it's water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Six of Swords in reverse, and the Hanged Man in reverse also. Yeah, it looks like you're upset at yourself for something that you feel was kind of emotionally dangerous or emotionally immature or naive or foolish for you to do. It almost feels like you were caught off guard by something. It's like you ended up in this trap in a sense, but it was like you put yourself into it. You didn't realize fully that you were putting yourself into that trap once you started it, once you went down that path. It's like you really didn't have any idea. But now you're just so angry and resentful towards yourself. Like, how could I be so stupid? How could I let myself, you know, fall into this illusion, this trap? How did I not see this coming? What the hell is wrong with me? Because then it's like once you were trapped, it was whether it was a mindset or an action or a job or a substance, whatever it was really, really hard for you to get out of it. In fact, I feel like some of you still aren't out of it. You know, you're still like in the midst of all of this, okay? There's something that you know isn't right for you, but you can't find the strength to leave. Or maybe you don't even realize that leaving is the appropriate option for some of you. So it's like you've got your hands tied. You feel like you have your hands tied in the situation. And like there's really nothing you can do about it at this point. Okay, so you're feeling trapped, but you're angry at yourself because you feel like you put yourself into this trap. But now there's no turning back and there's nothing that can be done. And what I'm hearing from Spirit is absolutely there's things that can be done. So don't let yourself fall into this belief that this is all a lost cause, there's no going back, it's all ruined. I'm actually seeing that with change, with effort, there can be a full 360-degree turnaround to this whole thing. It can all go away, all right? So don't let yourself fall into a state of hopelessness over whatever situation you're in currently. You do have the ability to leave, to pull out. It can be at a slow pace if that's what's needed. The priority is progress, right? Capricorn, which is in the die, teaches us that. And Capricorn's progress is slow and steady, deliberate, dutiful, organized, responsible. Capricorn's not much for quick movement. In fact, Capricorn isn't like that at all because Capricorn believes that anything that's done too quickly is not going to last long. So it wants slow, patient movement. So you can do the same with yourself. It doesn't have to be this sort of quick, all or nothing, all of a sudden sort of approach. It can be slow and steady, you know, scheduled, organized. You do not have your hands tied. You can do something about your situation. And in regards to the past and whatever got you to this point, yeah, you were naive, okay? You didn't know. There's no sense in being angry at yourself for what you don't know. You know, we don't get mad at a baby when it goes up to an outlet on the wall and tries to stick its finger in it because we know that the baby doesn't know, you know, has no idea that the outlet's got electricity in it, it's going to shock it. We try and yank it away, do what we can to save the baby, to help the baby, especially if it's our own, which my daughter used to try and do all the time. Oh my gosh, when she was 1 to 2 years old, she was always wanting to stick her fingers in the outlets and had no clue why mommy wouldn't let her do it. But yeah, it wouldn't be an appropriate reaction to get angry at the baby for trying to touch the outlet. It's curiosity, right? It's this weird square on the wall. Why is that there? That looks interesting. That looks fun. I'm curious. I want to go play with it. The baby doesn't know any better. So it looks like in this whatever situation that you kind of got yourself trapped in, it was the same sort of thing. Like it's not even fair really to be angry at yourself because you truly didn't realize at the beginning of all of this what you were doing, the dangers of it, nothing, okay? And that's really not your fault. So you need to let that be released, let go of that anger or that feeling of, God, I was so stupid. How could I be so dumb? What's wrong with me? Let that all go, okay? You can trust yourself, all right? This was truly a situation where it's like you really had no idea the depth of what you were getting yourself into, okay? You really didn't know. It's not fair to hold that against yourself. okay? And not only that, but it's still not too late to turn this whole thing around, okay? To completely change the course of all of this. You have the power now to do what you need to do, absolutely. And it's also going to be important for you to try and add more creativity into your life. That's going to be very therapeutic for you to do. So find your creative outlet that you enjoy. You know, maybe it's building puzzles, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's dancing to music in your house once or twice a day, or jogging, or painting something, or singing, learning music, learning an instrument. Whatever it is, try and infuse more of that into your day and let your weirdness come out. Okay, so don't try and fit into a box anymore. Let go of that pain. All right. Okay, so let's look at the other cards. Okay, from the chakra deck, we have the purple chakra, and look, it says forgiveness. The purple chakra is our third eye, our psychic chakra, which you guys are probably very psychically attuned. Okay, the Miracles Now deck says, to truly flourish is to release all the tension that holds me back from letting love pour through me. That's beautiful. Here's what it looks like on the back. So yeah, and that perfectly describes what what forgiveness does. When we're finally able to forgive, it's a release. It's letting love back into our heart. It's letting that guard back down. It truly is an act of service towards ourselves when we allow ourselves to forgive. Okay, and then from the astrological deck, we have Saturn in Libra. It says devotion. And Moon in Virgo, and this says order. All right, from the chakra deck, I want to read the story on the card because there's always a cute little fable that goes with it. All right, so this is Rhonda Rhino, and kind of the short statement of the card says, we never forgive others, only ourselves for having judged them. Wow. Okay, here's the story of the card. In the town of Amethyst lives Rhonda Rhino. She doesn't take her mother's drinking problem personally, but she dreams of becoming a beloved family pet. Okay, so Rhonda Rhino's mom is an alcoholic, it sounds like, an alcoholic rhino. Okay, one day, gunfire rings out. Rhinos scatter, and a small human child is caught up in the chaos. Rhonda picks him up and runs to safety. Humans discover the pair curled up asleep under a tree, and they shoot Rhonda with a sleeping dart. When she awakens, she's in a garden with the little boy and his family, Rhonda's new family. Here's the inspiration of the card. Rhonda's true essence lies in not harboring resentment. She transcends forgiveness because her focus is on her intention, not on her pain. Personal inquiry. This may be a time of family healing. Can I forgive myself for loving people who hurt me? That's beautiful. I love that. So yeah, some of you, this could be bringing up a lot of stuff in terms of like family and issues you grew up with in your own family. Maybe things that your own family didn't teach you that left you feeling naive in the outer world. Maybe you had these dreams and these aspirations and these goals that you got out into the real world and felt kind of beaten down by that, beaten down by life in a sense. But what Rhonda Rhino is saying is that it's important to realize Rhonda Rhino obviously doesn't have a good relationship with her mom, right? Because her mom drinks. But she doesn't harbor anger or resentment towards her mom because she's able to look at her mom from a perspective of, well, why is my mom really doing what she's doing? What's her true intention behind her drinking? Is it to hurt me, or is it because she's in so much pain that she can't deal with that of course she's going that route? Of course she's reaching for that drink. And Rhonda Rhino is, I guess, emotionally wise and mature enough to look at her mom through that lens. Okay, this isn't about, she's not intending to hurt me. She's intending to try and take care of her own pain. And that's what I see happened here in your life that you need to forgive yourself for. You weren't intending to end up where you ended up, okay? Your intentions really were pure. There was no malice. There was no stupidity, okay? Maybe naivety, yes. I do see that you were perhaps unaware, but you were not intending to end up where you ended up. So it's not fair to judge yourself I guess, based on just the actions. Judge yourself based on your intentions, and you know your intentions were pure, or that they at least weren't malicious, all right? Once you let that go, allow that forgiveness to come in, just like this card says, you're going to allow the love to come back in too. Because we need to love ourselves in order to move forward in life. When there's a lack of love there, it keeps us in a state of kind of self-sabotage, a carelessness towards ourselves. We don't treat ourselves right. We don't treat our body right because we don't care. We don't love ourselves. We have to get into a state of love for ourselves, for our uniqueness, for your, like the quote says, for your magic. Recognizing that is what helps us want to really care for ourselves, to do the right thing by us, okay? So let go of this past situation and start kind of unraveling that knot. You're going to be able to do it. You're going to get to where you want to be in life, okay? And it's not going to be easy. I won't say that, but it's going to be easier than what you think. This isn't an impossible task. This is something you can do, all right? So don't give up because you think it seems impossible. No, it's not. It's totally possible. Okay, on the astrological cards, we have Saturn in Libra and Moon in Virgo. Saturn rules Capricorn, which is in the die, and Libra is often about relationships with other people, our one-on-one relationships. So our relationship with our partner, our relationship to our kid, to our mom, to our friend. It's those one-on-one sort of balanced relationships. And Saturn kind of constricts things, takes us away from things, makes it feel very hard to reach that area of our life, wherever Saturn's sitting. So Saturn in Libra, when Saturn is in Libra in our chart or in our 7th house, it can make us feel like we've got a lot of enemies around us, like people just don't get us, like people cause us just a lot of pain. There's no use. I just want to isolate myself, be with myself. And we could have actual losses, maybe deaths that occur around that time when Saturn's in Libra or in the 7th house. Things in regards to other people that just cause us a lot of pain, makes it really hard for us to handle what's going on. And so I do see that was also a factor in all of this as well, the Saturn in Libra energy. Saturn is supposed to be a learning experience. Saturn gives us wisdom. They're tough lessons. They're not fun to go through, but when we come out the other side, there's things that we've learned, we've grown, we've matured as people through the lessons of Saturn. So maybe it was during a rough time like that, where things were just feeling very low in regards to how you feel to other people, how other people view you, your romantic life, your relationship life, and you just started feeling really desperate, either to try and make yourself fit in, to try and conform to what they want, or just to escape and run away completely. And I completely understand that feeling. I totally get why you felt that way and how you may have ended up in some sort of, accidental trap. Kind of like walking through the forest, and have you seen those bear traps that a hunter they'll put them on the ground, but then they cover them with leaves. So it's like you can't see them. That's kind of what I see happen with you. It's like you were walking through the forest, you just want to enjoy the forest, and then you don't see the bear trap because it's covered in leaves, and you step right on the trap and boom, then you're stuck up in the tree, dangling upside down. There's really no point in being angry at yourself for that situation, because how are you supposed to know? It was a hidden trap. You don't know anything about traps. Like, of course you accidentally walked into it. So yeah. And then the moon in Virgo, moon can often represent our relationship to our mother. That could have had a whole effect on this whole thing. That could be something that needs to be unearthed and healed, because I do see that the moon also represents our mind, our mental health, our emotions, what we're thinking. Moon in Virgo, look how ordered this card looks, the pretty little rose. It's exactly what the card says, order, organization. Your mind does need to be kind of cleaned out, organized. Things feel a little bit scattered about, a little bit cluttered, okay? Therapy would be a great option for a lot of you that are interested. That's a great way to help kind of cleanse and declutter the mind and just get things in order. Because Neptune, this planet here, although it gives a lot of creativity, a lot of psychicness, a lot of spiritual connection, it also gives us illusion and confusion, okay? And so with that coming into our mind, it makes it very hard to see things clearly, to know if we even have the right perspective on things. to make decisions, it kind of complicates all of that, all right? It's a beautiful energy, but it's one that you have to learn how to manage so that you can use it for its best and not for its worst. So yeah, focus on kind of just cleansing and clearing, decluttering out the mind, getting things organized, healed, therapy, all that sort of stuff. But you'll be able to walk back from this. Honestly, you were honestly a victim in this. I don't even like saying it was a mistake, because I honestly feel like you were kind of the victim in this situation. You didn't know any better, or there was no way for you to see it coming. So that's really why I urge you to forgive yourself and start looking at yourself as, look, I was the victim of this situation when it happened, but now I'm aware of what's going on, and now I can take action and do for myself what I need to do. All right, you deserve that. You deserve that. Take action for yourself. Give yourself a hug, all right? Give yourself a little bit of sympathy and help yourself kind of move forward and get out of this situation and step into your real creative purpose, this spiritual purpose of yours that you came down here to do, all right? Okay, I'm going to leave you guys here. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Thank you so much for letting me connect with you today. I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's Pick a Card reading. Bye, my lovely. Hey, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. Let's go ahead and take a look at the card topper you all gravitated towards, which was this quote by Evelyn Mary Dunbar. And I looked her up online, and she was actually an English artist during World War II. She created a lot of like paintings to kind of honor people that fought in the war. And I think she was like the only that had like an artists group, I think that the government commissioned to do this. And she was the only female in that group. So her quote says, "We are each gifted in a unique and important way. It is our privilege and our adventure to discover our own special light." Beautiful. So this quote just makes me think of, self-discovery, self-empowerment, which are like the major themes of my channel, why I do what I do. So I really, really like this quote, and it makes me happy to know that you guys gravitated towards it as much as I did. So let's take a roll of the die, and then we will look at the tarot. And guess what we have? Sun in Leo in the 4th house. I'm a Sun in Leo. So maybe this is my pile too, you all. Okay, so Sun in Leo. The sun, that's our confidence. That's our shine. That's our light, just like the quote says. And Leo is a very regal sign, a very confident sign. The sun rules Leo. It's a very creative, it's fun, it's playful, it's joyful. It just makes me think of laughter and glamour and just all things good. And then the 4th house, that's our home, that's our private life, that's the anchor to our life, that's our roots. It's our private space. So it feels like there is this forgiveness, I guess, that your higher self is calling you towards for your own self. Has to do with your ego, and especially it seems like you may be angry at yourself for maybe realizing that, or thinking that, oh my gosh, am I just the type of person that is only able to shine when there is a crowd that can applaud me for it? Like, am I only able to really be this Leo if it's for other people? So is this all just superficial and fake? Am I just a fake person? Like, who am I? What am I? I feel like something may have happened in your life that made you start questioning your own authenticity, especially when it comes to this sun, this Leo energy, where you started feeling like, maybe I'm just a selfish person. Maybe I'm just self-centered. Maybe everything that I do is for show, because in my home life, I'm not like this. In my private life, I'm not like this. So if I'm different in my private life than I am in my public life, what does that mean? Who am I? Which version of me am I? So it feels like there was kind of this disappointment in yourself, I think, and confusion about yourself, and specifically your sun's energy. I'd be curious to know where your sun sits in your natal chart. But let's look at the tarot, and we'll get deeper into this. Okay, we have spiritual growth of endeavors. It's upright. It says connected to one's ego in a healthy way, taking pride in the body, mind, and physical form, taking pride in the earth and Mother Nature, divine harmonious union of the spirit and the human form, materialism as a means to spiritual awareness, respect for the body, respect for earth, seeing that the human form and mundane earthly experience is highly spiritual and should be appreciated as such. This card's associated with Neptune and Aries in the 12th house. Yeah, I feel like this is actually where the direction you're already trying to go down, okay? So I feel like there was a huge shift in your values where maybe you used to really value a lot of material things. You know, maybe you wanted certain name brands, you know, a certain type of jewelry, a certain type of car, a certain type of hair, this, that, or the other. And perhaps you even got yourself into, you know, a little bit of debt, maybe some overspending, trying to kind of keep up with the Joneses, keep up with what's cool, what makes you look successful. But I do see there was a breaking point here where you finally were like, what the hell did I get myself into? Why did I ever put any value on this? This means nothing. You know, probably especially as you started going down your spiritual journey. And there may have even been certain actions in your relationships that you were analyzing, just your personality in general. I feel like you've been very harsh on lately as you look back. It's almost like you feel ashamed of who you were in a sense versus who now you're trying to become. But I also still feel that you are a little bit lost. You know what you don't want to be, but you haven't yet figured out what you are. And I do feel that there was a lot about you, this past version of you, that was authentic. It wasn't all inauthentic. It wasn't all superficial. There was a lot of realness to you back then as well. But I just feel like you're having a hard time pinpointing all of this and piecing it together. And so you may be angry at yourself because of, you know, certain actions you took with your money or online, social media, or in relationships, in your childhood, maybe even relationships with siblings, or even who you are as a parent if you have kids and you're just really being hard on yourself, wanting to kind of change and reset everything about yourself. But like I said before, there was a lot about you that was fantastic and always has been. So try not to look back on your past self with this super negative lens, because I feel like you're the only one who looks at it that way. I feel like the people in your life, the people around you, really just have a lot of love for you, really enjoyed being around that old version of yourself too. Whatever it is, the old version, or that maybe that less mature person back then. We'll see as we get into the cards kind of what spirit wants you to do with this sort of drastic identity shift you've gone through. But it's definitely time to forgive that younger version, the older version, the version from the past of yourself, because I feel that there was a lot of goodness in that person too. And you still are that person at your core. It's not all supposed to be wiped away, you know. It's just like what the quote says, you're on an adventure of self-discovery. But each phase of that should be enjoyable. Each phase of that, there should be things that you're discovering that you love about yourself. It shouldn't be a self-discovery to locate all the flaws and issues that you have that need to be fixed. It shouldn't be a self-discovery to kind of like break down your ego until it's gone. You know, each part of that self-discovery should be enlightening and also a joyful experience. It should be more of a focus on what you love about yourself. And I just discovered this that I love, and I used to love that, but now I love this. And like having just like this Leo energy, a brightness around it, a joyfulness around it, instead of I'm on this journey of self-discovery to find all of my mistakes and all the things that I don't like about myself, all the things that are wrong with me, sinful about me, and fix them. Because that's not going to do anything for your ego, for your shine, or for your authenticity. That's just going to beat you down into nothing, to where you literally just don't even want to move. You don't want to be noticed anymore. You know, you just want to hide away because you feel like you're such a bad person at your core that it's like, it's probably just better if I just don't speak. It's probably better if I don't be loud. It's probably better if I don't dress up and get noticed. It's probably better if I just stay quiet, stay small, stay meek, because I don't trust myself to be a good person. That's kind of where I feel like you've gotten. But it's time to let go of that mindset and to truly forgive yourself for the mistakes that you have discovered along the way. Because it's like I said to another pile earlier, maybe you gravitated towards it. guess what? We all make mistakes. We all do shitty things sometimes. We all screw up from time to time. We all look back on our past selves and cringe a little and think, oh God, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe I was like that. Or, oh God, I can't believe it was so hurtful. Like, that wasn't cool of me to do. Like, that's just part of life. We're not perfect, and we're also not aiming for perfection. So, of course, you have flaws. Of course, you do. That's just part of it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Stop trying to self-diagnose. Stop trying to be. Stop thinking that self-awareness is just about knowing all of your flaws and mistakes. That's not what self-awareness is. Someone who's truly self-aware, yes, knows their flaws and is aware of their mistakes, but also knows all of the things that are great about them. A self-aware person knows their talents, their assets, as well as their weaknesses. All right. So self-awareness is a journey into just knowing who and what you are. And it's also not about shaming yourself, punishing yourself, finger pointing at yourself. It's not about that at all. Awareness is just like, oh, I'm aware that that's over there. Okay, great. There's not a sort of emotional investment towards it, like a sense of anger or urgency. It's just like, I'm aware of it. So I think it's good that you have gone on this journey of spiritual growth to become more aware, to kind of upgrade yourself, I guess, in a sense, step into a more authentic version of you. But you're harboring a lot of anger and resentment towards what you view as past mistakes or superficiality or whatever it was you used to be that you seem to hate now, that you need to let go of. You need to switch your glasses. You're looking at it through the wrong lens, I guess is the best way to put it. But let's see what the rest of the cards have to say. Okay, we have 10 of Wands, 3 of Pentacles in reverse, 5 of Cups, and the Moon. This is Pisces energy here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks like I do see, okay. Remember what I was touching on earlier about this older version of you that you look back on and you think, God, I was doing everything just for the show of it. Just to please people, just to get that applause and that praise. I do see that it got you in a little bit of trouble, huh? I think in career, but it could have been in relationships too. Because I see that you did have your pride, your sense of pride was too big to tell people that you actually couldn't do something. All right? Because saying you couldn't do something is like admitting that you're not that superhero that you want everyone to think that you are. What? You're too weak to add this to your plate too, to accomplish that too? Like, no, you didn't want to give people that impression. You wanted to make people happy at all times. You wanted people to know that they could rely on you, that you were strong, that you were capable. And these are all things associated with, the ego. And so even when it was getting to a point where you were like juggling too much is on my plate, like my back is literally about to break and I'm going to drop all of these wands that people have entrusted me with. Like, I told people I would take care of these wands. They're not even my wands to take care of. And now I've taken so many that I'm risking possibly losing all of them, breaking all of them, all because I'm too embarrassed to admit that actually I can't take on that wand. I've already got a bunch here and I want to make sure that I can truly take care of these, so I can't hold your wand for you. So it looks like there was some sort of situation at work. It didn't have to be at work, but I feel like it was at work. Could have been in home life or relationships because we have the 4th house here, where you got such a boost by making people happy. It did make your ego feel good when you could just be that yes man, because then people would compliment you, like, wow, you're so good, you're so reliable, you're so this. So yeah, and so you took on too much. And then at some point, the wands fell, the wands broke, they fell, they were lost. And that all could have been prevented if you had, from the beginning, maybe once you had 5 wands in your basket and someone said, hey, can you take care of this one too? If you just would have been able to say, actually, no, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed with the 5 that I have. I can't take on that other one. I'm so sorry. All of this would have been prevented. But instead, all of the wands were lost. And so I feel like that took a big blow, to your ego, to have to swallow your pride and admit that you're not capable of doing everything for everyone. So some of you may have quit your job, a job that you really loved because you didn't know how to deal with it. Some of you may have been let go or fired because of it. Or maybe this was a relationship But whatever it was a huge blow to your ego. It made you question yourself. It made you feel like you were a weak person. It made you feel like you were a prideful person. You know, this situation really made you think like, my God, is my pride so big? Is my ego so fragile that I would rather screw things up for everyone than just let someone else handle something, than just say, no, I actually can't do that. So I see a lot of anger and embarrassment towards yourself. And that's what led you down this whole path of kind of questioning your identity, why you do, what it means. So a lot of sort of like you went on a psychological journey through this whole thing. And this event was the catalyst for it. Which is a good thing. It's a good thing that you're here today. I don't feel like you would be on this video with me today had you not had this experience that kind of was the catalyst to this spiritual journey that you're on. But yeah, it's been dark. You know, I see that with the moon. It's been dark. It's been troubling. And, you know, you still can't see everything clearly, all right? But you're being brave and you're taking the plunge and you're going on this journey in the darkness. And that's what's important. But it is time to forgive this old version of yourself, because at the core of it all, it doesn't have to do with selfishness, okay? It doesn't have to do with being egotistical. Really, at the core of this is you just want to make people happy. You don't want to be another person in someone's life to disappoint. You want to be a person that people feel they can rely on. Maybe because you didn't get that growing up from others. Maybe you had a lot of no people in your life. Maybe you felt very on your own. And so maybe subconsciously you always thought, wouldn't it be amazing to kind of have an angel in my life who could help me, who could take on things for me? And then you grew up and thought, I want to be that angel for others. I want to be a savior for others. I want to help people who are feeling overwhelmed. I want to be reliable. I want to take things off their plate. I want to always say yes. That's where it came from, not from a place of like superficiality or egotisticalness, because guess what? You're not. I don't care what you say about yourself. You're not egotistical. So get that out of your head. You're not, okay? You're someone who actually cares a lot about the people around you. And so it makes it hard for you to say no, because when you say no, it's you admitting that you can't be that superhero for others that you always wanted. Okay? You're trying to kind of take care of your own inner child through other people is what this is. So you're healing the inner child now. And I do see that you've become a very different version of yourself than who you were back then. But I do think it's time to kind of blend the two back together. Because back before this event, whatever it was, you had a brighter aura, a brighter confidence about you, and more joy in your life than you do now. Now things have gotten so serious, so kind of scientific, and so withdrawn in a way. So yeah, you've gotten wiser in a lot of ways, self-analytical. You've discovered a lot about yourself. You've connected more to your spirituality, and that's great. But you need a little bit of that old version of you back as well. And you can bring that version of you back. It's time to forgive that version of yourself and let that part of you shine once again. Your inner child is what it is. You've lost it. You've abandoned it. It's time to forgive that inner child. Okay, let's look at the other cards here. All right, from the chakra deck, we have the root chakra, the red chakra, and it says acceptance. From the Miracles Now deck, it says peace is in my pulse. And from the astrological deck, we have Mars in Sagittarius, and it says domination. And Saturn in Sagittarius, and it says fulfillment. So both in Sagittarius, Saturn and Mars. All right, let's read the little message from the chakra deck. All the cards have cute little stories that go along with them. They help you kind of understand the meaning of the card. So this card is called Cherry Heart. And kind of the quote of the card says, when I accept myself, I find love. Okay, here's the story. Cherry, which is the name of the woman on the card, loves her work as a waitress, but feels that something is missing from her life. She has a boyfriend, yet she senses that he's unfaithful. One day, a customer orders a cherry pie. Cherry cuts a slice and sighs to a friend that her life is like that pie with a slice missing. So her name's Cherry. She works at a restaurant. Customer orders a slice of pie, so she cuts it out and she looks at the pie and tells her friend, that's like my life. There's like a slice missing from my life. Her friend remarks that maybe Cherry is a heart-shaped pie. Cherry's perspective changes. She leaves her boyfriend and later meets a man who makes her happy. So see how the pie, if you kind of look at it with the piece missing, it looks like it's a heart shape. So her friend kind of tells her, like, maybe there's nothing missing. Maybe you're looking at the pie all wrong. Maybe there's not a slice missing. Maybe it's supposed to be shaped like that. So, okay, the inspiration for the card says, a magical box of self-acceptance appears before you. Your unique qualities reside within. Open it. Are things simple now? Cherry Heart invites you to see yourself as complete, just as you are. Personal inquiry. Am I assessing myself accurately, or am I distorting my reality in a self-defeating way? Can I simply accept myself? Wow, that's amazing, because that goes so well with everything Spirit's been telling me this entire reading. This is a card about self-love and self-acceptance. Okay? Look at yourself in a more loving light. Stop trying to search for the problems and the issues, okay? You are an amazing person. You deserve to feel that. Feeling amazing, feeling prideful, feeling good about yourself is not selfish or egotistical. That's what everyone deserves to feel. It's not a dangerous feeling. It doesn't make you less spiritual or less mature. No, not at all. If anything, it makes you more spiritual. It makes you more mature. Nothing makes the universe, spirit, God happier than to see us happy with ourselves, taking joy in our lives, loving who we are. Okay, that's a good thing. And you deserve to feel that. You deserve to feel this sense of inner peace. It's already within you. It's just time to put on the right pair of glasses that will allow you to see it, to get out of this turbulence, this darkness, this dark energy, and to get back into the light, into the shine, into the sun, to boost up your ego a little bit. You deserve that. You're a good person, okay? I know I feel like I keep saying that, but I need to emphasize that for you. Guess what? You're a good person. People like you. People love you. You're generous. You're kind. You're fun. You're relaxed. You're enjoyable to be around. You care about your actions. You care about other people. You're a good person, okay? Okay, and then we have the two Sagittarius cards, Mars and Saturn, domination and fulfillment. Sagittarius is a very spiritual energy. It's kind of associated with intelligence and religion. It represents kind of like the college professor, you know, the bachelor's and master's degree. So I see that at your core, that's what you are. You may be, your draconic moon may be in Sagittarius. Comment below if it is. You want to be a knowledgeable person. You want wisdom. I see that that's what you're chasing after, and I think that that is very admirable, okay? But just like the difference in these cards, look, the Mars in Sagittarius says domination. Mars is it's a very aggressive, warlike, fast-paced, moving energy, and it just wants to dominate a situation quickly, rapidly. And there are situations in our life that call for that sort of energy. But what I'm seeing from Spirit is, instead of trying to reach this pinnacle of Sagittarius energy and wisdom with Mars, fast-paced and moving and aggressive, why not try doing it with Saturn? Saturn's slow, it's a slow-paced energy. Saturn isn't real emotional, definitely not aggressive, not quick-moving, takes its time, does things in a way that it knows will bring success in the end, or like this card says, fulfillment. So try and tap more into that Saturn energy instead of that Mars energy. You don't have to take care of everything all at once. You know, you don't have to self-analyze yourself all at once. Just let yourself breathe and live. If you notice something, take care of it when it comes. You know, if you notice that you're kind of maybe handling yourself not a great way in a certain situation, then just deal with that then, and then move on to the next situation. You don't need to go live in the past or overanalyze things. Use this Saturn energy, which is very practical. Saturn doesn't overdo things and doesn't want to, you know, win the race. You know, Saturn's very much like steady wins the race, kind of like the turtle and the hare from that fable. Saturn would definitely be the turtle. And the hare, the rabbit, would be this Mars energy. So use a little bit more of that. Have a little bit more grace with yourself. Love yourself. Accept yourself. You deserve it, okay? It's time to forgive and let go, all right? And stop trying to look into your past actions with like in an evil way, like trying to assume that you were really a bad person deep down. Something's wrong with you. Like, no, you're fine, okay? You're fine. It's time to let that go. Move on, forgive, you're good. I want you to like go get dressed up and go out dancing. Like do something very Sun and Leo like this week. You deserve it, okay? All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming, for allowing me to connect with you. I resonated a lot with this pile. I myself am a Sun and Leo and a Draconic Moon in Sag. So I feel like this message was just as much for me as it was for you guys. But I look forward to seeing you guys for next week's reading. Love you all. Bye.